Problems when painting. This is why they always say you should use good paint. Now, I'm in Australia. It's been a couple of days where it's been 28 and 30 degrees, right? Even today's meant to be 20 to 30, somewhere in between. Just, the average temperature where they test these are at 25 degrees. Right, now these lines might look really smooth and clean, and they are pretty good actually, to be quite honest. Masking tape I use painter's tape. It's cheap, no-name brand masking tape, and it's done the job quite effectively. But there are a few places, and there are problems with using cheap masking tape. For instance, how you spray can be a big thing too. The more layered it is, the more likely it is to rip chunks out when you finish. This is also due to the fact that the paint had a really bad bond. This probably is indicative of the fact that you sprayed in weather that wasn't warm enough. And then this happens. Now, I did actually spray in above 25 degrees. I also sprayed in 16 degrees, but stopped at 16. Now, the paint can itself said it would cure at 12 degrees minimum. This is what you have happen, which is called bleeding. Bleeding can happen. We can fix this up with a black permanent marker. But there again, I've lifted the masking tape off, a failure of bond, and it's ripped a chunk. And that's a problem. Now, this is a pretty decent spray paint. It's actually Durox, which is quite decent. But next time I think I'll go with a more creative type brand like Iron Lac. And we'll see how the bond holds on this. You can see that this is about 40 centimeters away. It's hard to see any imperfection. You will always have bleeding, and there will always be problems with painting panels. But yeah, there are issues. Now, when I removed the masking tape, the biggest fault on this was this. The failure of the bond, sometimes because of a dirty surface, because this surface was washed and it was degreased. But there was a failure of a bond more likely due to temperature. And it's caked and laid and ripped right there. Now, I can see a temperature difference just about here. It's come with more of a clear coat on the edge where I've done the final spray. It's about this far in. It's actually more glossy. This Durox spray had gloss in it, so it was like a primer and a gloss altogether. But yeah, there are issues with spray paint panels, and I'll have to do a bit of work to fix this up. With focus, you'll be able to see some tearing, but then you zoom out and it's, that's 30 centimeters away. So this is a pretty damn good job of a paint, especially for an aerosol.